Alrighty, so do a quick audio check, see how we're doing. 100 proof whitetails,
Episode 58.
58. What are we calling
And what
this?
are we gonna do for 60? We gotta do something for 60.
We gotta do some
We
giveaway.
gotta we gotta think of something good one. Maybe we'll give away another blind. We had that pile of stuff.
Yeah, we got blinds and stuff we could get rid of or
Cameras.
do. Off-season grind tonight. Archery, habitat, and good times is what we're calling this. So should be all good.
So speaking of good times, episode 58.
Yep, we're good on the audio.
So speaking of good times,
Good times.
we had the Sip and Stroll.
Yep,
Met a lot of people. Had a lot of fun talking with them.
sure did.
Joking back and forth and talking hunting and meeting a bunch of people. We had I don't know. What do you think? How many people do you think went through? I think because of the weather and how cold it was a little slower than most years. But I think we had at least probably 50.
50, dude. They had 200 registrants.
Yeah, I mean, we had 200 people go through.
Yeah.
No way.
Dude, we hammered those bottles down.
Damn.
Yeah.
Talk 200 people. All right. So either way, at the Sip and Stroll, we had a little Q&R giveaway. This was the giveaway. We did not have the bottle update that we were giving away while we were there. We just told everybody that entered that we were going to be having a bottle thrown in, and the one we decided is Remus. I'll let Ben explain that.
Yeah, so the Remus, we did the tasting of that at K&M, I don't know, probably last year or 2 years ago. But you can get this right on the shelf at K&M. Solid bottle, 47 proof, so 47%, 94 proof. Pretty much the same that we were drinking at the Sip and Stroll.
Around the 90.
Yeah, we did Buffalo Trace, we did
Jim Beam,
and Elijah Craig. So 3 big
and
distilleries.
Elijah Craig won it.
Elijah Craig was
minus the basement whiskey.
Yeah, basement
And
whiskey.
If you know, you know.
Yep. And if you don't, whoever filled out the survey is also getting their own bottle of
the basement whiskey.
the basement whiskey.
100 proof blend.
Yep. Unfiltered, uncut,
Unfiltered.
straight from the barrel.
R-rated.
Yep, R-rated. But then a bunch of other stuff. We got a deer poster. Yep, you waving everybody. We got Nora tonight with us on the show. Mommy's teaching class tonight. We got some swag from Widow Jane Distillery in Brooklyn, New York. 100 proof hat. Whitetail Properties koozies. Stickers.
Yep, we got the 100 proof sticker. We actually sold 3-4 hats.
Yeah, I think we finished. We only
I
have
think
one orange one
We
left.
have one orange hat left, so
Yep.
maybe we'll throw that in the episode 60 giveaway or something.
Yep.
Unless
Yeah,
someone wants it, let us know.
Yeah. So we'll do the random name drawing. We can either do it now or we can do it later on in the show. Either way.
Hey, we just right off the rip.
Right off the rip, gonna see who's
Seeing
gonna
we're
walk
talking
away with
about
it.
it. We made the people wait 4 days anyways.
Yep. So
Whether they were worried or not about it.
sure. So we're gonna do actually, let's do the responses. Let's see what people were responding about the feedback.
Yeah, and thank you to everybody who took the time to fill that out and chat with us.
So a lot of people were first time listeners.
Mm-hmm.
Or knew about us through Facebook. We had one person that listened on the podcast, but mostly first time listeners, which, was cool. But we also had the people show up that were like, I remember these guys. These guys are the best. And we had people actually asking for the basement whiskey from last year.
Yeah, the whiskey.
Yeah.
Oh, these are the whiskey guys.
These are the whiskey guys. This is where we want to be. Yeah, so people were interested in doing the bottle lights, so we'll have to make a post about that. Try to keep us from a complete net loss try to sell a couple bottle lights maybe. And then people, it looks like, want another batch of hoodies possibly. Knit
Hoodies
cap.
always sell though.
Hoodies always sell, but I think we'll do pre-orders only. So we're not sitting on like 2XLs or 2 triple XLs or whatever at the end of it. But yeah, people's comments were, did you enjoy the tasting? A lot of yeses. So good! Exclamation points. Great. Perfect. Yes, definitely. Loved it. Fantastic. It was awesome. Enjoyed it so much. Thank you. And it was awesome. You guys were super personable. We didn't have a bad comment. And we even, I think, might have switched a couple people's thoughts on whiskey. People that were rum drinkers, they were like, oh, well, I kind of like that one. Or I kind of like this one. we did bring out some Buffalo Trace. Um, so that was something that we wanted to do.
Which honestly, most of the people walking through didn't even really. I didn't think it really caught their eye.
No, I mean once in a while, but like
Like
even
we had to, like, a lot of the people, when I told them that Buffalo Trace is the whiskey that they drink on the show Yellowstone, they were like, "Oh, really?"
yeah. Yeah, there's a couple that they drink on that one. Buffalo Traces gets a lot of the shout out with it, and it's like the buffalo walking in the beginning of the intro and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like straight out of a Buffalo Trace commercial, pretty much. But yeah, so the folks that entered, we're gonna do our random wheel of names like we always do, and then Brian Howell, were you on 414 North today? Yes, I was. That was me. Let's go to evaluate a potential new listing that we got coming up just north of Clyde. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, dude, it's hot right now. I showed 11 properties today. A couple of them were subdivision parcels, so you kind of walk from one to the other that have been surveyed out. But I think we found one that the guy's going to go on. Just waiting on a couple answers to questions, and that'll be good for that. But we'll get the random wheel and names going and see what we got here. Share the screen. Do what we do. Here we go. Random wheel of names. You guys should be able to see it on your screen. Oh yeah, right there. And ready? So we got all of our entries right here, and we have your contact information accordingly. And
No, I can't see it.
Karen
Karen.
Greenier. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, but we'll get a hold of you for your giveaway winner. And yeah,
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 congratulations.
yeah.
Thanks for
Thanks for everybody stopping out.
thanks for the support.
Appreciate it. But yeah, it was a good time. We'll continue to do it. We'll be there for the sauerkraut, a kraut crawl, which I think they're going to be coming out shortly with the theme for that, for this coming up. So, also shout out to the town of Phelps. They got a big grant. We can talk about it now because the press release has been given out. So we have a grant for developing infrastructure, helping businesses in downtown Phelps. My wife was part of the grant writing process, and they got a $4.5 million grant from good old New York State
I saw that.
for helping develop downtown. Canandaigua got one, and Brockport got one for the other ones. So pretty pretty good that we got three of them given out in the entire state, and they all went to this Upper Finger Lakes region.
Yeah.
So really cool. We didn't get the big one. Canandaigua got the big one. Go figure. But we got a good little taste of it. I think they're going to use some of it for some of the businesses that need work, cost sharing, some stuff with that.
Mm-hmm.
They talked about trying to figure out a better place for parking. That's always been brought up because that's the one thing we challenge with in Phelps is parking.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we'll see. We'll see where it goes. But anyway, so winter off-season projects that we're doing. You said you got out the other day and found a bunch of deer beds, right?
Yeah, I got out. Did a walk around. Did a little I guess TSI. Working on some of my off-season projects that I got in mind. The extension of the boulevard, the the buck bed, trying to improve some of that, trying to bring some more of them over and stuff.
So you
Yeah,
did work on the boulevard extension.
yeah. Needs a
Gotcha.
little more work. I got it probably about a quarter of the way. Knocked down some trees to try and, I guess, block trails that are kind of sneaking in behind some of my spots where the deer could get downwind of me before I could see them. Trying to get them to move where, at least majority of them to move where I want them to go.
Sure.
Just trying to build, I guess, build the habitat around, I guess, where my setup is, where I chose to, I guess, sit my ass most of the season.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's good. I got out, did some videos, so we've been dropping a few on the channel here and there from the uh, hunting I did. I got one going up tonight that should drop. I think 9 o'clock. I got it scheduled for little winter tree ID. And we're gonna kind of just sprinkle them out. We gotta get over and shoot a couple over there at your piece, and I think we want to do a couple over at the lease piece and stuff like that for plans for next year with that and developing that more. Um,
Yep.
some of the stuff that if you don't own the property, or have as much ability to do like management stuff on it, some of the other stuff you can do, improve, look for, etc. You know, kind of just reading sign and going off of it that way.
Um, something I guess that really that I really noticed with the blanket of snow we had out there. You could see where all the beds were, and obviously the tracks, and they're definitely hitting the turn-up bulbs pretty hard right now.
Hitting the 100 proof.
Yeah, they're hitting the 100 proof pretty good. But one of the things I noticed is the deer beds. Majority of them had overhead cover, like how a pine tree will have all its branches and they kind of have cover. Majority of them were honestly there was 5 beds around one tree, and it was a big wide pine tree, and they were all underneath it.
Yeah, one of them. I think there's
Like
a couple cedars up in
like,
there.
Yeah, like they preferred a little bit of the canopy.
I think that has to do a lot with we were a
And
little
it might
bit
be the time of year
sure.
because they're trying to, I guess, maybe get out of some elements.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. That what little bit it does provide some thermal benefit as well. That they can stay a little warmer under there, not hit with as much wind, especially.
And
You
then
know,
the other, yeah, to that point, not to cut you off, sorry.
no, go for it.
But to that point, and it's on a big bench shelf on the side of a hill, and this bench shelf kind of where the bedding is, it kind of gullies down, and then it hits a little shelf and then drops down pretty severe. Well, that little gully in there that'll get them right out of the wind.
Yeah.
On that hillside. The hillside will come down and almost like have like a little saddle on that hillside. That is right there is where pretty much all of the beds were.
Yep.
And I'm
Well,
guessing that has to do with getting out of the wind.
Well, and I bet a lot of the wind comes up through there and kind of swirls in that little pocket bowl saddle too, and you got some of that too with it. But
And it was they were all on the east side of that gully.
gotcha. So it would be protected from the wind then.
Yeah, the west they'd be protected from
that west.
The west, probably a little bit north too.
Yep. Sure. Well, that makes a lot of sense. All the way around. But
it was kind of cool going in there, and with the snow, you can see a lot more and see a lot more of what they're doing back there.
And some of the other cool things, like we pulled a couple cameras here and there. We've got some new bucks that showed up on some of our pieces that we didn't even have during season. So when you have good pieces and you manage them, I tell this to people all the time, don't be completely bummed out if a lot of your deer got shot this past year because good properties end up being like vacuums. And you attract more deer back into them year to year to year.
And to add on to that, going to the good properties, I mean, how it's a vacuum to other deer. Well, if you're worried about, the deer take, and that is also a reason why the whole deer management thing, because, the property's only going to hold what the deer can, what
it can support,
what it can support. So by managing that, the numbers, you figure out a good number, and what you think that property should hold, and you can mess around with it. I mean, that's a good way to try and keep them there.
Yep.
The biggest thing is definitely pressure during season, but in the off season, I would say yeah. So I mean, like Ben said, if a bunch of your bucks, the neighbors shot or you shot one and all your neighbors shot one, you're like,
lost a couple of cars or whatever.
I'm not gonna have any bucks. Well, that those deer were there for a reason to begin with, and other deer are going to find it also.
Hmm.
You know.
And that buck that was there just maybe once or twice that wasn't maybe as aggressive, now there's a spot opened up in the roster for him, and he can slot in too.
And he might make that his,
Yeah,
his
like,
primary spot.
yep. And we saw that with a couple bucks over the years. Like Hornet was like that. I think Six Pack was like that.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of them have been lifers. Dono, St. Patrick, Outlaw. Some of those bucks were lifers. Curly, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the other ones, dude, was like, yeah, he showed up this year. Bud was one of them. That was a show up that year buck. Hornet was a show up that year buck. Yeah, Six Pack from this past year was like that. So we get a pretty even mix. But once they get into, you know, they slot in at 2 or 3, and you can grow them up a little bit and start developing a little serial killer board for them, and you never know what's going to happen with them.
And it's not just, I guess, numbers going down or a slot opening up. Look at what's going on around your property and the neighborhood. I mean, is habitat being taken out? Is development being put in? That's going to
Mm-hmm.
push these other deer that weren't normally around towards you if you have a more desirable area.
Sure,
You know,
sure.
like someone putting in a house and they go in and they doze out 2 acres of prime bedding. Well, they got to find somewhere else because
Yep.
they're not going to be sleeping next to the guy's garage.
Yeah, it's displaced. There's a lot of displacement that happens. And also, you get somebody else that moves into the neighborhood and starts doing a little bit more management. If you have a good unpressured food plot program, you can make your game the best game in town very easily.
Mm-hmm.
You know, again, are they going to go someplace else? Yes. I mean, even on 1,000 acres, dude, you can't keep a deer on
1,000 acres even. Unless you fence them in.
But yeah, unless you fence it. But um, it's one of those things where you just manage their time when they're on the property and you make them feel as safe as they can be, and they can spend a majority of their hours on a property. Even if you're managing 20, 30, 40 acres, it doesn't have to be hundreds and hundreds of acres. You just have to hunt it smart, and it comes down to more micromanaging a piece. I was actually on my smallest consult I've ever done the other day was 3.7 acres with his house. And again, things sets up mega sweet, like
Mm-hmm.
killer spot. Um, so again, but he knows, and like we talked about, I was like, you can't go to the back corner of it. You have to bring them off that back corner and bring them up into the property where you're not blowing stuff out, trying to hunt it and set it up. And again, strategically, the way we're felling trees specifically, so when they're on the property or coming to the property, kind of similar to the boulevard, makes a big funnel through there. So they got to come past your bulletproof stand with the right wind that you can slip in and out of, that you put in this big hickory tree that you're hidden really well.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the strategy on how to face that stand, even. Like that was something that I talked to just about everybody about because, everybody, as people, we think off the front of our face because that's the way our eyes are. But when you're hunting, you want to think from your nose to your shoulder because that's your strong side, whatever that is. Right handed, it's to that left, and if you're left handed, it's to your right. But it's everything from your nose to your shoulder and over your shoulder. That's all your strong hand turning where you don't have to fight your body with it. So those are things that goes into the strategy behind it, and it has to be even kind of more micromanaged the smaller piece you have. When you
Mm-hmm.
get a big piece, you can kind of broad brush stroke a lot of stuff.
And by doing those habitat improvements and keeping the pressure off and making them feel safe, um, you're trying to create an area or an atmosphere where that deer feels comfortable coming out during hunting hours. Because, everyone hears it and it happens to everybody. I don't care how good your piece is. He's always at night. He's always at night. I always got pictures of him coming in at night. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
A lot of times it's a pressure thing.
Yep, it could be a pressure thing. It could be a cover thing. If a lot of your deer are not coming out until that last 10 to 15 minutes,
Yeah,
it could be because the cover and where they feel safe is a little ways away from I'm assuming that food that you're hunting, or you're set up and they're moving through to try and get to the food. But
Because it all boils down on how that's, related with, like you said, the cover and the food. So, like, if your food is like on the edge, sometimes, that might not be the best setup for it, because then they got to come from a neighboring piece. So you're not even hunting deer that are living on yours. But each property is different too. So that's kind of a broad generalization. But having that balance of flow for movement ends up being, critical. And finding what the low hole in your bucket of the neighborhood is it cover? Well, then you need to work on cover. Are you down in, the southern tier where food's the big limiting? So then you do, more food development maybe, and maybe that's just in the form of, some timber cuts to make, even just good browse and, cover that equals food kind of setup. So it's all different, but
I mean, it kind of, you know, and there was a couple different variables with the buck I shot last day of rifle season this year. Um, One was he was wounded, and I think he was trying to get as much nourishment in him as he possibly could to stay alive.
oh, 100%.
I think was a big part of it. But another part was that he's trying to stay alive, so he's just not going to go out there if he feels like there's something out there that's going to hurt him. You know what I mean?
He felt
So,
safe, and he felt.
and I shot that deer at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on the last day of rifle season, and he was standing smack dab in the middle of that food plot,
Unpressured food.
unpressured food.
Yep.
So there's
Because you really hadn't hunted that since opening day. Maybe once or twice a sit, but that was really it.
I was like I always do with the rifle, because with a rifle, I'm I'm setting up for 200 yards. If I can get a shot at that deer within 200 yards or less, I'm comfortable. So, I hunt a lot of the outskirts during
Yeah.
during gun
Well,
season.
get
It's
on
kind
the
of like
absolute.
early bow.
Yeah, like
I'm
you're
not
saying.
walking through the food plot, or I'm not walking into the timber to get to a stand with my rifle. I'm I'm kind of trying to keep all that cover for the most part untouched, unless I have I guess a gut feeling that I need
Sure.
to make a move,
Yeah.
or I have camera evidence that shows like, hey, you know, this buck's going through there, and I should be able to catch him 15, 20 minutes before he gets to the food there. But by the time he gets to the food, if I'm hunting on the outskirts, it's too dark. It's already past shooting light. I can't get to him, so I'm just trying to get a little closer to his movement.
Yep. Yeah, it all comes back, like you said, time management with it, and just figuring out what that is. But the more you can hunt fringes and keep them where you know, they don't know they're being hunted, or have a very low kind of feeling of pressure and impact, the better you're going to be, successful. And the more chances you're going to have that they're going to screw up on that piece. And that little bit of fringe pressure, when they do feel it from a neighboring piece, or they get bumped out of a piece, they get to your place and then they go, oh, it's pretty good digs. I'm not getting bothered over here. So, yeah, you agree? Good. That's all that matters. Bo says, we missed a pretty good Harrisburg show. Yep, missed it.
Yeah, didn't
Didn't,
make it.
no, didn't make it. Too busy doing other things, pulling the daughter around on the sled, doing habitat work.
Yeah,
You know,
we did some sledding Sunday morning with Owie.
getting some properties sold.
He loves
So,
getting dragged behind the four-wheeler.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Good. Bo says you guys are so lucky you can get out in the woods. We just keep getting more and more hungry. Sorry. She's asking for more food. We just keep getting more snow every single day. It was supposed to be getting 10 inches this weekend. Not good. Yep. I think we're supposed to get 5-6 inches.
Yeah, it's snowing pretty good right now.
Yeah, we're gonna get a couple inches tonight, and then a couple days, kind of maybe some rain tomorrow. I think they're calling for at some point, maybe. But then it blows out, and then we have another system coming in Saturday, Sunday. So we'll see if I go show ground on Saturday. I'm waiting for that guy to confirm with me for showing Saturday, and then Sunday I might be cutting habitat work for a client. So we'll see. We'll see how the weather goes. If we get the 10 inches both calling for, I don't think either one of them things is going to happen necessarily, but
Yeah, you don't want to be out there doing that in that weather.
Yeah, well, I can handle a little bit of like an inch or two over the course of a
The
day
wind,
is fine.
though.
Yeah, windy is where
Wind is
it gets
rough.
sketchy. That's where it gets sketchy too, cutting trees in the wind.
Mm-hmm.
Or walking ground. I don't like to be walking in the woods in the wintertime when it's windy. Um, you're okay.
Got a lot to say.
She's got a lot to say tonight. We're gonna have the cut screens from the video edit going to her. Yeah? That was the funny thing. So we have the clips from last episode, but when we brought people's comments up, like it would think that their face was a person and it would clip in and out.
Oh, really?
So there's a couple of them we got to tweak them a little bit
Yeah.
from that clip generator. So, but yeah, we have a whole bunch of more. Yep, you're telling me more.
Yum, 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 yum.
Yeah, teach your kids sign language. They said it'll be fun. They said, well, she's not screaming as much. She does more hand signals, but it's still the same idea.
Mm-hmm.
But yep. But
Sharon,
yeah, your birthdays. Yeah, she's pretty good at sharing. I don't think Nate wants your Cheeto. No maple Cheeto.
Yeah.
Jerry tuning in says I'm getting ready for the day at Runnings. Cards and a banner. Hammer sent me some stuff, stickers, sample packs. Waiting to hear from Barnes. I should have samples from them also. Gotcha.
Yeah. He's so if you guys have a chance to swing down to Runnings March 15th.
Yep.
We're gonna be there with the Northeast Big Buck Club, and sounds like Jerry, who's very knowledgeable with ammunition. As far as I know, I think pretty much all sorts of reloading and whatnot. But
Yep.
mainly what I've talked to him about is rifle rounds. He's very knowledgeable about Hammer, the brand Hammer, and Barnes. Obviously the pulley copper stuff. He's a big fan of. He'd be come on down and pick his brain and chat with us and maybe get your deer scored, or even just come down with your kids so they can check out all the deer heads. And
yeah, we'll have I'm debating, I don't know if I'm gonna bring Jeff or not, but we'll definitely have our little card table set up like we did last time.
yeah,
You know,
good.
we might pull some folks in and not do live a show, but might record some small little snippet episodes to put on the podcast.
If they're
Hunt stories and stuff.
If they're up for that.
Yep. So, but yeah, this should be a good time. Again, that's March 15th, Canandaigua.
I think it starts at 9 a.m. to like 2 or 3.
Yeah, I was just gonna look at the north scoring.
But yeah, I think last year they scored probably 30 heads.
Yeah, or 30 or 40 a year, really.
Arrow slinging, grass slinging Caleb. That's where we met him.
Yep.
Him and his wife.
Yep. And anybody at that point, anybody that killed a deer during the season will have passed the drying date.
Yeah.
Even if it was killed during the late muzzleloader season.
The 60-day.
Yep. So.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna bring my bull buck if I get it back from the taxidermist in time. We'll see.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm gonna bring a deer down to get scored. Yeah. I don't think my my rifle buck is gonna make it this year, but
well, I don't know. I think he's gonna be close. We haven't stretched a tape to him yet, have we? Or did I stretch a tape to him?
I think we did. I think he was a few inches under the 120 or 120. Is it 120 or 125?
120 for typical.
Yeah, I think he was just under that.
Yeah. So 100 for bow, 120 for shotgun, pistol, or rifle.
And then 110 is muzzleloader?
I think so.
I think muzzleloader is 110.
Yeah. I'm trying to see when the date of the times is, but I
think
think
Sam, if you show up, 10 a.m. to between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m.
10 to 3, yeah. I think it's 3.
We'll be there.
I think it's 3 is when we're done.
Yeah, we start packing up around then.
Yeah. So.
But if we got a line of people, I'm sure everyone will hang out and
Yep.
Do what they got to do.
So
But yeah, bring Caleb down. Well,
bring
yeah.
the girls.
Yeah, bring the girls. I gotta meet up with them. Bring Owie over. Play Connor, Rachel, Lane.
Chew it.
And the little guy Wyatt. I gotta get Owie over there to hang out with them. Play in the snow.
We'll see. I'm thinking we're gonna see him because Sam RSVP'd, I think, for Nora's birthday party. I'm assuming Connor and Rachel will probably RSVP as long as they're in town.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, Connors works out of town a lot. I don't even know where he's working now.
I forget. He was off doing a punch list at some factory.
His truck's always loaded down with ice fishing gear, so I think he's doing a lot of ice fishing.
Yeah, I think he's
going too far.
I think he's working remotely from the ice, wiring switches from Oneida. We're doing a lot of work in Onondaga County this year in Oneida.
That's the best place to do it, from the fishing shack.
Yeah, but yeah, Sam. Yeah, we definitely need to get the kiddies together and do some stuff. The weather's getting a little more mild. Like if it's 30 degrees, we're gonna bundle her up and put her in the sled and pull her around the yard. But
yeah, Sam, did Caleb get his buck back yet? I'm just curious. I haven't heard much from Caleb either.
So I know. Well, it's of course the year our taxidermist says he's gonna be off.
I know, and then we
bombard him with everybody's best bucks they've ever killed.
It couldn't have been last year when I didn't kill one.
Yeah.
Oh well. I don't want to rush him. He does a good job.
Yeah, that's the one thing you don't want to rush.
He's good to us.
You don't want to rush your taxes, and you don't want to rush your taxidermist. You know, both of them will get you in trouble for different reasons. But yeah. Archery leagues is what we're also doing this time of the year to stay sharp. We talked about, and I'm hoping we can do it. So we'll probably put some more information up about it if it's going to move forward with it. But what were you calling it, Nate?
What's that?
So I like the name.
Oh, the shoot?
Yeah.
Frozen Knuckle.
Frozen Knuckle. See if we can talk.
Frozen Knuckle, or 100 proof Frozen Knuckle 3D shoot.
Yeah. See if we
look at Sam. She says I already got the spot picked out for Caleb's buck.
Oh, awesome!
Look at that. Caleb's a lucky man. He's got a wife that's all about it.
Well, we got.
Wow, we all are really.
Yeah, we all have supportive wives. You know, mine are all in the basement, but that's just so they're in one spot.
It's better in the basement though, because this is like the hangout for you and your buddies, and I mean, that's who you really want to talk to them about.
Sure. So, and then they're not just buried in the red den living room, and
mine are gonna get buried here soon because we're gonna repaint the living room, I believe. But
well, the nice thing too about the basement is you don't have to worry about any sun bleaching. You know, that's the other reason why they're not in certain rooms upstairs is you'd be amazed on how quickly.
Yeah, Ben's basement windows look like downtown Rochester. They got bars and boards over them, and the bars are to keep Nora in, but
bars are to keep Nora in, and then we got a little bit of cardboard there for the little bit. This one here by the bar is for glare, for like in the summertime when we're shooting. But the one over there with the deer heads specifically is because the back of 8 Ball's neck is like white. Like there must have been just the right amount of light coming through over the trees at some point of the day he's got like a spot on the back of his neck about the size of a softball. That's like all bleached out. So that's why those windows are all covered up now. But anyway.
And,
Tuttle.
Yeah, Derek's tuning in. All the way from
Idaho. Unless he's fishing in Montana tonight.
Yeah,
somewhere else.
You never know where Derek's going to be.
Yeah.
That could be a thing, Derek, that you do on YouTube. Where's Derek?
Yeah. Blah, blah, blah.
He says, good evening, fellas. Hope you guys are having a good night.
Yeah.
Yeah, any day we can get together and talk deer hunting, Derek, is don't bounce you is a good evening. Don't bounce your head off the table there.
Yeah, don't bounce. Nope, wouldn't be no good.
But
yeah. No, it's been archery leagues have been pretty good. You know, I don't want to jinx it, but you and me have been going back and forth pretty tight. There's only 1 or 2 other people that are right up there, so hopefully we'll bring it back.
We'll see.
Run it back.
We'll see. There's a couple guys there that are turning it on the past 2-3 weeks.
Well, we'll you know why we're doing so good is because Jake's no longer shooting the same night as us. He's pro now.
Well, Jake is the Eagles won the Super Bowl.
Yep. So
Jake, he's a big Eagles fan. He's on cloud 9 right now.
well, last I knew he had a bad fever, and he was real sick.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's
So-
too bad. That sucks.
So instead of enjoying the Eagles' second Super Bowl, he sounded like he had a pretty wicked fever and the sweats and the chills and all that stuff.
That's no fun.
Sounds like that flu cold or whatever that's been going around for everybody. Mike's got it, a couple other people. It's probably where he picked it up from. He probably gave it to Mike.
He does spend a lot of time down there.
Kind of gave it to Mike. So
I swung in to Heritage. Was it last Friday?
Mm-hmm.
Picked up some arrows that I ordered, and I got to sit down and talk with Lou and Jen.
Holy smokes! You actually got some. You actually got some arrows that match again, or did you buy like 3 of this one, 3 of that one to throw Jen off?
I got 3 that match.
So that's
and
just
I only
an
buy
inside
them 3
joke.
at a time now because they're $20 a piece.
Yeah, expensive.
Holy. So now I got 3. I got in my quiver with my broadheads. I got 3 to practice with.
Yep.
I got a couple that I can refletch myself. But
I had an expensive one 2 weeks ago.
oh yeah,
I had
Robin Hood.
I had a Robin Hood on warm ups, but like you told me, it wasn't a 10, doesn't count.
I'm just picking on you.
I like the spot I was aiming at.
A Robin Hood's a Robin Hood, but
Well, that was back
to
from,
center punch the bullseye and then Robin Hood that's impressive.
that's the Robin Hood.
Yeah.
But
That's
no,
the true Robin Hood.
I was trying to figure out my arrow drop with my pin, and I backed up to the yardage and I shot, and I was like,
I can ruin it from over here.
yeah, I was like
Wow.
2 inches low on it, and I'm like, huh. So I put it right in the center of the circle again and squeezed it off, and I was like, ooh. I was like, that didn't sound like a slap. It had that hollow but solid kind of, and it's like, oh.
Yeah.
I looked down there and I could see it sticking out.
goes.
I'm like, oh shoot.
There goes $40.
Yep, there goes a whole bunch of money.
But yeah, the Dilf here, he says the Whitetails Unlimited banquet. We cleaned house on that last year.
We did.
You won 2 guns.
Nora won 2 guns.
Nora won 2 guns. My wife won a gun.
Tim won
and
2.
Tim won an auction, I think.
Well, he won one. He won a raffle, and then he bought one at the
And
auction.
then he bet on one. Then I
Yep.
think we also won a door prize.
Yeah, we won a couple. Well, I won a couple.
It was nice. It's actually nice for me just because it's only 20 minutes from my house.
Well, and,
It's not far over there in Palmyra. The Palmyra VFW.
yeah, that's where they did it.
Yeah, it's got the big tank
Mm-hmm.
or helicopter out front. Tank.
Tank.
That
was
Helicopters in
a tank.
Shortsville.
Yep, but no, that's a good time, and there's not many banquets around anymore, dude.
No, that was a good one. I mean, I thought everything they're giving away was decent. It wasn't just a bunch of knick-knack stuff. It seems like that's what a lot of the old guys complain about, or older guys complain about, like the NWTF banquet. They talk about how it was back in the day where they'd give away canoes and they'd have
The
just
tables and like the bench.
guns. He goes, they just said now it just seems like a bunch of art and knick-knacky stuff, and a lot of them I know they always say it was way better back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But
So
yeah, there you go. It looks like May 10th at the Palmyra VFW, the Whitetails Unlimited banquet. It's a good one if anybody wants to look into that.
I forget which chapter that is, but yeah, they do a good job. They've been doing it for a while now.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think the whole family.
Yeah,
Enjoyed it.
Hannah was there, Liza was there. We bought a table for Whitetail Properties there, and I don't know if we'll do that again or not. I think we probably
Yeah.
will.
Tim was generous enough to buy us a few tickets. That was real nice.
Yep. Yep.
Derek, he chimes back in. He says, I was out ice fishing in Montana yesterday. Nice warm, -14. I had a hard time keeping the holes from freezing up, and yeah.
I can only imagine,
BTU
dude.
heater.
So when it's that cold, I mean, how thick is the ice? Like, do you need an auger extension?
I don't
You
know.
know?
That's got to be over a 15 inches.
Gotta be.
Well, that's 2 foot.
Gotta be drive your truck on it, freaking.
Yeah, you see them videos of guys like on TikTok or they're drilling through, and you're like, when's they gonna break through? And they're almost to the actual handlebars.
Well,
and by the time they break through.
Well, and then they pull it out, and you see that it's got a freaking 2 foot extender on it as well, and it's like, holy smokes!
Yeah, those are the guys that are driving their diesel pickups out there.
Yeah, pulling out actual like sheds.
Yeah.
Like that we got in our side yard. They're pulling them out there for ice fishing sheds.
Yeah.
Minnesota, like Wisconsin, and stuff.
Like the movie Grumpy Old Men.
Yep, you got it.
Yeah.
You got it. Wow, you're just woofing down these little cuties tonight. These are one of our favorite
your dad
things.
says everything was better back in the day.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So shout out to my dad and my mom for watching Nora today while I went and showed some ground. While Hannah was at work, and then they helped me with the decision-making process on everything from where to put the sticker on the closing gift boxes to what was included. We even included some of their jams that they made, So it's homemade, organic, good old, there's blueberry, blackberry. I think those were the only two we put in these.
Just how Grandma did it.
Yep, just how Grandma did it. But I forget what. My mom's going to probably chime in, but I think they did 400 jars this past year.
Damn.
420-something jars of jam. So, yeah, they went a little jam crazy.
So, hey, that's all right.
So, yep, and then I got some good old New York syrup in there, hat, decals, all that good stuff.
I know me and Liza have been getting into the canning and the
preservatives and stuff.
Yeah, the freezing. That's a lot of stuff out of the garden.
Yep. Absolutely.
Derek, he says the ice was about 20 inches.
Oof.
That's plenty.
That's thick. When I was fishing part of the Clark Fork River, so the ice is sketchy. Yeah, I can imagine, dude. You got a river under you?
Moving water. Jesus, Derek.
The river drops, but you got ice above it with air.
Derek, go home.
Careful.
Be careful, where it's safe.
Yeah.
Derek's a wild man. He likes to live on the edge.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, he's got a leucistic Powell elk out there that he's been trying to catch up with, and I'm hoping that he does one of these days.
That would be cool.
Yeah, and we're pretty sure that it's a young one because of her size, But it sounds like she, I think, made it through this past season again. You could tell me if I'm wrong, but I hope he's been, seeing her around. But he also, we talked about it a couple shows ago, talk about what you can do this off season is get a good grunt call that sounds like a good grunt call. You like your mad call, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm a hooks guy.
Rip roar.
Yep. That hooks one has always been my go-to for the last probably 10 years. And that's what Derek grunted his buck in with. He's like, I don't even know where I got that grunt call. It's this wooden one. I'm like, that's the one I left you when I was out in Idaho hunting with you.
Yeah, Ben gave all of us one.
Yeah, I think everybody got one that one Christmas. That and Sturgis all-weather whitetails book.
Yep. Yeah, it was good.
Yep. And you can tell people like Nate have read it because they're the ones that kill out of all those people. But yeah. Nope, it's
it's a pretty good read. I got another one. It's an older one that my grandfather, after he moved, he had a bunch of whitetail books.
Oh yeah.
I forget. I want to start reading that one. I'm finishing up that one Mark Usick book. Mm-hmm. Fly fisherman guy I met up in Old Forge.
The art guy?
Yeah, the guy that did the art. I've been reading some of his stuff. He's a pretty interesting guy, very down to earth. I enjoy his stuff.
Salt of the earth kind of guy.
Yeah, I can relate to a lot of, I like how he brings life into fishing and everything like that.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else.
Derek, what were you fishing for, anyways? Oh no.
Only up to her ankles. Whew.
Oh, that's all right. Wet feet still suck. Yeah, up to her ankles. Man, yeah, that's scary. You always get like that movement, and you hear those long through the ice, and you're like,
Yeah. the ice making cracks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always sketchy.
So, yep, we got.
So let's talk a little bit about frost seeding. I've had I mean we're getting pretty close to that.
Mhm.
Last year I think it was a little earlier just because of the weather we were having
The warmer weather.
and we didn't have the snow cover.
Sure.
So I feel like maybe the frost seeding is going to be a little more into March. Where last year I frost seeded middle of February just because the way the weather was panning out. Um, so I guess in my opinion, I know I've had quite a few people come up to me and ask me about it. I just watch the weather to see when you're getting those you know high 30s, 40-degree days, and then the nights drop down to the freezing because that's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get those little. It's when the ground freezes and expands and contracts. It's when it works the seed into the soil.
Mhm.
So that's the kind of thing you really want to look for is when you get a little thaw during the day, and the nights it freezes back up.
Yep. And some of the good times, or good places, I guess, to do that would be existing clover plots.
Yeah,
Is a really good one for that.
the type of seed you want to frost seed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Clover is going to be your frost seed, and clover chicory is going to be your frost seed, and kind of mix, which is what the 100 proof spring mix is. Product placement drop. Which that's ready to rock. As soon as orders start coming in, I got the mix down. It's ready to go.
Yeah, we had that Saturday.
Yep.
Look
Yep.
good, look sharp.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's good for, like I said, seeding into existing clover if you're trying to spruce it up, or if you got a brassica plot that's ready to rotate out of brassicas or turnips. You can put it in with like cornfields if you get good weed management, going into it. Unless you plan on doing your um, like grass control or broadleaf control, after emergence or whatever. We got a little. Thanks, Uncle Nate.
Yeah, mess there.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, the 100 proof frost seeding that's going to be coming up here March. So if you get your seed now, you'll be ready to go once we hit our good conditions in March.
Yep.
Um,
So another thing, I mean, some people are finding some sheds. From what I'm seeing from trail, I pulled my cameras, was that a week ago?
did you
And I
pull
was
them all out completely?
no,
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 just pulled some
I
cards.
just pulled the cards. Honestly, a lot of the smaller bucks are dropping. You get
Well, I think
bucks
lower
of one,
testosterone levels and stuff has something to
but
do with that.
the all my 2-year-olds are holding.
Yeah, all the 2-year-olds still got bone.
But the it seems like the older bucks, like I actually had a lot more survivors than I anticipated, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I'm guessing they were all around the 3-year-old range, and they were all still holding both sides. I had 3, 4 of them that I think are 3 that survived, and then that new guy that showed up with that split brow.
Yeah.
I think he might be a little.
He's
older.
definitely going to be a 2-year-old next year.
Yeah, definitely a shooter 2-year-old next year.
100%. I think we should, for our next hoodies, like have the logo on the front and on the back just be like 2-year-old killers. It's like
Maybe a couple for you and me.
Yeah.
And Jesse.
2-year-old killers slapped across the back. Be funny. Inside joke for everybody that's wondering. Just an inside joke. But yeah, we got speaking of that, our ages should be coming back here shortly. Probably end of the month. We were just talking about that.
Yeah.
So
But I think majority of the deer are still holding.
yeah.
And it seems like I don't know, the past 4, 5 years I've been shed hunting with you pretty regularly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it seems like middle of March, end of March is really the best time to really
When we get snow break. Yeah.
really get out there when that snow thaws, and
Yeah, I
it
think
seems
if
like most of them have dropped by mid-March, end of March.
Yeah, I think you're getting close to 90% at that point. This year, I think if we hit another hard cold snap, I think it'll drop some more off. But
It is a harsher winter, so maybe they'll drop
unless
sooner,
you're
but
walking goat paths or, um, you're looking at a giant shed, which there's not that many giant sheds out there. You know, um, It's hard, dude, to even see them in 4 or 5 inches of snow.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to find them when there's no snow, but 4 or 5 inches, I've never had a lot of luck pulling them out of snow. Um, so that's about it. But yeah, it's I would definitely say too, the longer you can wait, the less you'll push them off of a piece, you
Hmm.
know, and push them to where you can't possibly shed hunt them.
Well, that goes into the whole, you know,
Pressure.
the adding pressure, habitat work.
Hmm.
You know, you gotta. What do you what are you more interested in accomplishing? Finding the sheds or getting some work done while you got time, or
Sure.
you know the time's right to get out there and maybe drop some trees or
Yeah,
do some frost seeding
I
and stuff.
think right now some of the best things you can do for deer is get out there and drop some trees. And we'll talk about that in the habitat videos and stuff like that that'll be on the YouTube channel. Some of the reasons why, some of the tree species identifying that you're dropping this time of the year, so on and so forth. But that's what's feeding them. They need that fiber in their diet from the woody vegetation because that's what they're getting into the science side of it. That's what their stomach biome has changed to. The bacteria is literally changing and developing. You know, their metabolism's changing with that. That's what they need this time of the year. And then people that go out and like corn feed them or something like that shocks their system and can actually kill them. You know, they could build up that acidosis in the stomach, and then that can kill them. You know, a lot this time of the year. Or if they, get turned on to dumping a whole bunch of
So
high sugary stuff or whatever, for
would that be
example.
considered like a horse colicking?
I guess kind of similar. It's just it's overloaded with nutrients basically. Um, I guess some of the ways around that is you feed like a higher protein feed rather than that if it's legal, obviously. But again, dumping a whole bunch to their system is still not good for them, unless you had in a place where it was legal,
We're
like
gonna
a
give them a diabetic attack.
kill them. Literally, dude, they'll eat themselves right to death.
You'll have a bunch of blind deer.
Yeah, they'll all be dead. Um, but
There,
yeah, if it's part of the normal, like if you have standing corn right now, for example, or something like that, um, that's not going to kill them having standing corn because their stomachs have always had that in their diet. So their
mhm.
biome hasn't changed as drastically as it typically would have tapered off. It still kind of had that ability to balance. So I was looking at a client piece the other day, and the corn's pretty smoked, turnips are pretty smoked. So I told him, I said, we probably should get out there and start dropping some trees because your food plots are struggling at this point to keep up with the deer that we're attracting to this piece.
Hmm.
So that's something you got to look at too.
Um, but Derek has a good question. We touched on it a little bit ago. Derek says he found a little spike days ago, walking the hatchery. He said he would have thought that the smaller bucks would hold their antlers longer than the larger antler ones. Is there a reason for this? Ben touched on it about a minute ago about testosterone levels. There's lower testosterone in the younger deer. I guess naturally you would think that gravity and weight would kind of
Sure.
take over.
Mm-hmm.
I guess there is a little bit of that, but it also depends on your area. I mean, if you have standing corn around you, I mean,
Lower stress.
there's lower stress, and the deer are still getting a lot of nutrients, which are gonna, you know,
Keep them healthier.
keep them healthier, keep the antlers on longer. Weather, but when it comes to the smaller antlers, I think deer are like people. Everyone's different in a little different way.
Yeah.
Some deer might naturally just hold antlers longer
Yeah.
than others for whatever reason. Might be a genetic thing. Um,
I think it's more the stress derivative and obviously testosterone, body condition. If they're wore down, have an injury, yes. And that's where, I differ with a lot of folks with the holiday season, or we both do actually. We differ with a lot of people's opinion that we shouldn't have it. I do like the option for it. I just think our gun season's too long. I would like to see like archery mixed into the gun season or something like that.
I would like
I
gun
like the
season to
holiday,
shorten up
but I like the
and muzzleloader get extended.
yeah extension of muzzleloader or primitive weapon, whatever you want to call it.
And bow muzzleloader.
I think that would people are saying that you're killing all these extra bucks. And I'm sure Bo, if he's listening, he's going to comment on this. You don't get an opinion. You don't get to hunt yet. Um, but no, I think that the percentage of bucks that are harvested in the late muzzleloader season or even the general muzzleloader season that are shed bucks is so small, dude. I can't say it's none because obviously it's possible, but that deer is severely stressed or injured to be shedding that early. Typically, you don't see that because of the photo period, the length of daylight, and the testosterone levels dropping. You shouldn't be seeing that on your property. That deer are dropping before the end of season. Unless that deer has something extremely wrong with them. But if it's most of the deer in your area are shedding out in that late muzzleloader season, you need to work on your habitat or fill some holes in your bucket, dude.
Yeah. So, so, so I guess at the other end of it, there's also a minor case of deer that don't shed their velvet and they don't shed antlers.
Mm-hmm.
And usually that has to do with a genital injury.
Mm-hmm.
Usually their nut sack. And when you see that, you'll there was a deer I believe that was shot in Canandaigua or
Frank,
Farmington area.
Derek will love this.
Uh,
Frank Smith shot him, who was one of our professors in college.
and the deer just kept growing like a bush on its head. Like it just kept
It's all
adding
fuzzy and
to the mass. It was all fuzzy. It was goofy looking.
sure.
And I have a guy at work that tells me he's got a deer that he's been watching for I don't know 3-4 years, something like that. He always comes and gives me updates on this deer. He says the deer's body is huge. He says it dwarfs all the. He says there's mature does in there, and his back is 6 inches above theirs. Like he's just
Big
huge.
deer.
But all he has is these like little baseball fuzzy knobs on his head with two little spikes that come out of it, and it's always the same thing every year. So I talked to him. I said, well, see if next time he's at the feeder, if you can get a rear end shot of him to see if he's got his stuff or
Yeah,
not.
if he's
'Cause
got.
a lot of times, if you don't have that, you're not
I've heard
producing the
of
testosterone that
I've
you
heard
need
of
to
it
actually.
being caught on a fence and injured or something like that.
We all see the
Um,
pictures on Facebook of the nuts hanging off the barbed wire fence, right?
yeah. Well, that's just the guy that shot the buck. That's where he leaves him for you
Usually,
as a ha ha.
I experienced that. The neighbor left a nut sack hanging in a tree for me one year.
Yeah.
That was nice of him.
And then the other one that you see that in is like undescending testicles. So they never descended and they never developed.
Yeah.
I've heard of that where people go to field dress their antlered deer, and then they find that the balls never descended and they never developed that testosterone with it. Um, Mason Jekon chimes in and says, I've always had better luck in the late muzzleloader season with buck activity. Yeah, you can get into that second rut period.
Well, there's a second rut, and then if he has good food and low pressure, that's where they're going to want to go and hang out, where they can just bed to food.
Or we talk about that vacuum effect. If there's an
A lot of
open game plan, the end of gun season drives that push a lot of deer out, I think, push a lot of deer in for muzzleloader season for some folks too. If you get a lot of that late gun season pressure. So that's a big piece of it.
And you're getting back into that almost early. It's like early bow, but you have better visibility. So the deer are still going bed to food, and they're doing that, but you have all that foliage, you have the crops if you're hunting fields, you have all that where you can't see as far. Where in late muzzleloader, the crops are off. The deer kind of pretty much past the rut. They're not moving as much around, and they're going back to that bed and food. You can pattern them deer a lot easier, kind of like what you can do in early bow, but it makes it easier just because all that foliage is off, all the crops, and that extra cover that you have in early bow season is gone. It makes those deer a lot more visible also.
Yep. Yeah, it's deer that you might not have seen moving through the thicket coming at you before, or stuff too. Like you said, bunch of stuff, bunch of factors roll into it, but yeah, no, it's good. And then
I
Mason
love muzzleloader season.
Had a good.
I like hunting in the snow.
Oh, I
Period.
do love hunting in the
Something
snow.
about white-tailed deer in the snow really
Yeah.
spikes my endorphins.
Yeah. It gets me going.
It gets me going. It gets me excited.
Yeah. But Mason had a topic he wanted to talk about, and we'll probably shoot a video and talk about it more. But managing your property for more waterfowl. Was one of the things he said he'd like to see videos on. So we're going to be doing some things to our property specifically this year that will be attracting waterfowl. So we'll be doing more videos on that specifically anyway. So that worked in really good for a nice topic that people want to talk about.
Let her run. We're almost at the end here.
Yeah, I think
Let her run.
Put her down.
We're wrapping things up.
Well, she's probably getting tired. It's getting to the point where we usually wind her down and she gets really, really excited before bed. But yeah, we got everything covered tonight. So congratulations again to, I'm gonna forget your name, so I'm gonna pull it up. Karen Greenier, who is our winner of our giveaway from the Valentine's Day Sip and Stroll.
I feel like
Greenier?
Yeah.
I don't know. Karen. I don't know if it's Karen or Karen. I don't know how it's pronounced. So I forget my own name half the time.
But congratulations.
Yep.
We'll be reaching out to you, and we either see if we can meet up with you, or just we'll get your address and mail it all to you, however you would prefer it.
Yeah, when Penelope won that one time, we met up with her. I think we met up with her to like a tasting or something like that. But that, and we have had people that wanted to come down to the bar for like tasting and stuff. So we'll see if those folks reach out to us. If you're tuning in, I gave you a card, so you can contact us or shoot us a message on the page, and because they were talking about whiskeys they wanted to try, and I'd be happy to let them try it before they buy it. So we'll hit Mason's comment, and then we'll sign out with the outro video. Mason said that'd be great. This off season, I plan on trying to plant some rice or millet, etc. Just trying to figure out when and what for birds and for our area bird boxes, etc. Yeah, it depends on the property, so we'll look at some of the factors for that, timings, etc. We're not doing any water control features or anything to that high level of it, but we'll talk about some of the ways that we're improving it for wildlife and overall different ecotones, areas of ecosystems where they come together, and how we're managing that for more wildlife in general. But just over an hour, that's where we like to be with these. Keep them easy going for folks. If you did like the show, we'll give you that plug to check us out on anywhere that you listen to your podcast, Apple, Google, iHeart. If you can't find us on the platform you listen to your podcasts on, let us know so we can figure out why we're not on there. Also, YouTube, we're putting out more videos now, more content. The shorts should be dropping on the Facebook page intermittently. We got to sort through a few tonight, get them scheduled, and follow along on our Facebook and all of our other socials. And
hopefully we'll be posting some non-live videos of us out in the field doing stuff.
Yep.
We just gotta get together and
shoot a couple. So thank you all so much for the support, tuning in and everything, helping us get to 58 episodes with the new name. I don't even know what it is with total names, but thank you all so much for the support and everything. And if you want to see something figured out in a video or covered, we'd be happy to do it for you. So just let us know. And until next time, guys, be safe, shoot straight if you're out hunting. See ya.
Have a good one.